here's how we're going to start today. I always say that the playoffs are hot, but the hot seat is hotter this time of year. And last week, Josh, we talked about, or not, I shouldn't say last week, a couple weeks ago, we talked about a couple of the NFL coaches that could have been on the hot seat coming up this year. And certainly a lot of that has come to fruition, right?
Yes.
Jonathan Gannon was fired. Raheem Morris was fired. Somebody that we talked about at length, Josh, that we were saying, please don't fire him, was Kevin Stefanski. He was fired at the conclusion of the regular season. Pete Carroll was fired. So there was a lot of action. Obviously, the Giants and Titans have been they'll be searching for a new coach as well, as they fired their coach earlier in the year. But reportedly, Zach Taylor is there to stay. I can't imagine with the Steelers making the playoffs that Mike Tomlin isn't any danger. Aaron Glenn, so far, Josh, has not been fired by the Jets, which is an interesting one, and neither has Mike McDaniel. So it's an interesting landscape right now here for NFL head coaches.
I mean, that's an understatement. First off, I want to talk about, to me, what was, like the biggest surprise on that, and that really is Raheem Morris to me. Because Raheem Morris won their last 4 games in a row, including the win over the Rams, which they certainly were not supposed to do. Earlier in the season, he got a big win against Buffalo. And he did this with Kirk Cousins, not with the starting quarterback that they were hoping that would be their future, Michael Penix, while he is out with injury. He helped Kirk Cousins to have, stat-wise, almost an identical stat line for the season to Michael Penix. And the team was, that's how you want to end a season. If you know you're not making the playoffs, hey, we're building something. We're building camaraderie. We got momentum going. We know we're a couple pieces away from maybe doing something. And then, poof! Oh yeah, no, we're gonna start over.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was that one was just such a head scratcher to me. I don't know what you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see Raheem Morris go also. Now, here's the thing. I never thought that, just for some 2020 vision here, I never thought Raheem Morris was that good of a football coach. Mm-hmm. I thought when they hired him, it was very really? I didn't really see it, right? I think it might have been based on, what they've expected, right? They were 8-9 and for the last 2 years. So certainly with a roster that they had, I mean, if you're asking me, it was too early to let him go. That's me. But here's the reality. He's had 1 winning season in his 6-year head coaching career. So it isn't like Raheem Morris is some stud that they, had to, that they ended up making a decision on. No, I mean, Raheem Morris at the very best is a fringe head coach. Like that's kind of how I felt about the whole thing. So as much as you're saying, as much as we could say we're surprised about it, I also am just well, I mean, they probably could do better. No?
Well, based with openings, I mean, one way they'll definitely do better is if they land Stefanski. I mean, that's obviously the one guy in the open right now. And obviously there'll be some coordinators that will get the chance. And, all right, some hit, some don't. We know that history. Look at Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. So I almost feel like I'm not trying to scream conspiracy. That is not who I am.
Not doing
however,
scream conspiracy.
However, don't you think that maybe the higher-ups in Atlanta were, when they knew they weren't going to be making the playoffs, were kind of upset that Raheem Morris was able to push Kirk Cousins and his team to win 4 in a row to end the year to lower their draft capital?
Well, they don't have.
Oh, that's right. They have the Rams have their pick.
They don't have a pick this year.
Oh, yeah. So you know what?
Traded it for James Pierce, who
and that's why I'm not screaming conspiracy, because then actually they would have been appreciative of that because the pick got worse.
The pick did get worse.
Yeah. So forget conspiracy.
Well, no. Never forget. Never forget it. Always ask questions, Josh. But yes, I think that one certainly came off as a surprise. I don't necessarily think it was maybe the wrong decision, but it was something that I didn't really expect from them.
Right.
Let's talk Kevin Stefanski for a second.
Yeah.
Because that one screams, and we talked about it, and we really did phrase it like this. It's just like it would be the ultimate Browns move to fire a 2-time coach of the year. Just like I can't, like, Kevin Stefanski was the stability of that organization if they had any. I just don't understand this. I mean, again, you had 2 straight losing seasons. I understand all of that. But for an organization as dysfunctional and as treacherous recently as the Cleveland Browns have been, to put together seasons that are an 11-5 season, an 11-6 season, and keeping them out of the laughability category without really a quarterback. Like, let's throw that out there also. I mean, in Kevin Stefanski's tenure, they haven't really had a quarterback. I mean, even this year, they didn't have a quarterback, regardless of what you felt about Shedeur Sanders. Yeah. I mean, this one, I mean, I shouldn't say I'm surprised that it happened, because there was always the possibility that they could do this. But this one, I just can't wrap my head around.
Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum, Nick Mullins, Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, P.J. Walker, Jeff Driscoll, Jameis Winston, Bailey Zappi, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. I feel like I might still be missing 1 or 2.
Probably, yeah.
Those have been all of Stefanski's starting quarterbacks since 2020. So that's just a 5-year span. And I named off, 10 plus?
And could he be getting punished for a decision that the front office made with trading for Deshaun Watson?
I mean, and that's the annoying thing when it comes with sports. When a bad trade happens, you don't blame the player, and it's depending on what happens. Sure, sometimes you can absolutely blame the GM. I mean, look at Nico Harrison and the Luka Doncic stuff. But then it also comes down to, well, what did the player do in that time? And obviously, Deshaun Watson, we know, did absolutely nothing for them except not just take their money, but then just create a huge PR nightmare off the field.
Right. Yeah.
So with all that, you have the coach. He's not the one in charge of bringing the players in. He's the one in charge of trying to make the players as good as possible when they're on the field.
Right.
And I'd be remiss to say, I don't think Myles Garrett would have the sack record if it wasn't for Kevin Stefanski.
Interesting.
I would say that, Shedeur would not have progressed as well as he did in the second half of the season if it wasn't for Stefanski. Right. I don't think Judkins would have had as good of a season if it wasn't for Stefanski. I don't think Baker Mayfield would have got to the level he was in the Browns before they gave him up if it wasn't for Stefanski. So he has shown that he has been able to turn chicken you-know-what into some form of chicken salad and bringing the Browns to the playoffs multiple times. Like you said, 2 11-win seasons for Cleveland.
Yeah.
Is unheard of. And now, whether it's Atlanta, whether it's Arizona, whether it's the Giants, someone,
He's going to go somewhere.
and he is going to get paid.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when whatever team he goes to gets to the playoffs within the following 2 seasons, the Browns are going to be like, oh, yeah, I guess he was pretty good, wasn't he?
Yeah, right. Actually, where I think could be a good spot for him, and I know that this is a team that's had its dysfunction over the last number of years, also. But you know where I think could actually be a very good spot for him?
I think I know based on that line, but say it.
The Raiders.
Oh, that wasn't who I thought. But you know what? I was thinking you were referencing the Titans.
No, I think the Raiders would be a great spot for him.
Interesting.
Because think about it. They have the number 1 overall pick.
Yep.
They have Ashton Genty, who's going to – I mean, if they can find a way to build an offense that surrounds him, he's going to be a superstar, right? I mean, there's a real possibility that if the Raiders could bring him in, they bring in whoever, whether it's Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza or one of those top quarterbacks into that room with that first overall pick with Kevin Stefanski, they can kind of build that together. That to me makes a lot of sense.
It could. And a question with that is, will that convince Max Crosby to not demand a trade? Because obviously Stefanski could try to use Crosby like he used Myles Garrett.
Right.
So, and then you obviously you got Brock Bowers in the midst of all that too, where Stefanski has shown he has done well with tight ends because Harold Fannin broke out. That was my proud fantasy prediction that came true this year, was to watch out for Harold Fannin. And Njoku has had some very quality years under Stefanski as well.
Certainly.
So, now you get someone who is leaps and, I mean, no disrespect to either of them, but leaps and bounds above both of them and Brock Bowers.
Yeah, right.
Plus, like you said, Genty, keep Max Crosby, draft that quarterback. That would be a great fit. How he would work in that organization would be interesting. I also kind of like the thought of him in Arizona.
Yeah.
Because, again, Arizona's going to have a top pick, so they could very well draft a quarterback. You move on from Kyler Murray. You already got Marvin Harrison, so you got your stud receiver. Mm-hmm. And then just like how we're describing with the Raiders, you got a couple pieces plus a top pick. How can you build this organization where they're in a division where they're nowhere close to anyone, just like the Raiders?
Right.
So, I mean, I'd be intrigued for either of those Western teams to see if Stefanski is a guy for them, and then how much you're going to offer him.
Right. Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. He's going to land somewhere, and I'm interested to see where he goes because he's just too good to not get hired somewhere else. I mean, unless it goes full Mike Vrabel, and you know what I mean, he's going to have to wait a year or something like that. Speaking of the Raiders, though, Pete Carroll getting fired is an interesting one also because there's 2 more I really want to talk about. One of them is Pete Carroll, one of them is Aaron Glenn. Because I feel like we can't have this conversation.
Oh, no, we got to talk about Aaron Glenn.
Pete Carroll, again, they were not good this year. They have the number 1 overall pick. Geno Smith did not work out for them the way that many people may have anticipated. Providing some sort of stability to that organization based on what he did in Seattle. But what do you think? Was this the right call, Josh? Do you think that the Raiders should have moved on from Pete Carroll? Again, a little bit of an older voice, not one of the, new young spring chicken head coaches that is popular nowadays. Do you think that the Raiders made the right move?
I do. And I know it's rare to say Raiders and right move in the same sentence, but I definitely feel like they made the right move here in getting rid of Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, we know his pedigree, and you can only go so far with your pedigree and track record. Mm-hmm. Just ask Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Players change. The game evolves as time goes on, and we are now in this era where there are a number of head coaches younger than some of the players on their team.
Right.
And as much skill and knowledge and success as Pete Carroll has had, when you look at the way the game is being played, especially in the AFC West, then the thought was, okay, so with this, let's get a quarterback with a strong arm, but maybe make him a little mobile too, because Mahomes can move with the ball, Herbert can move the ball, Bo Nix can move with the ball. Okay, let's bring in Geno Smith, and obviously that did not work at all. Mm-hmm. Geno got paid, and he's going to continue to get paid. And you draft your stud running back. Was there any Ashton Genty highlights this year? I mean, like in reality, like he was by far the preseason offensive rookie of the year pick.
Yeah.
And had nobody to protect him and was just honestly had a very mediocre rookie season. And we know he'll bounce back. But it was, at this time, Pete Carroll trying to say, oh, I can make Marshawn Lynch out of him. No, you couldn't, because the game has moved on. Now you got like so many teams with the two-headed running back attack as well, and you're trying to put it all on Ashton Genty with no offensive line. It's not working. Defense wasn't happy. You got Max Crosby. He ain't happy. You had other players not doing well. Jacoby Myers, unhappy. You ship him out. He has made Jacksonville a legit contender.
Yeah.
He turned into a missing piece for a playoff team. And you had him locked in on your roster. So all these things are just combining with, no, Pete Carroll, you're not the right fit anymore. Maybe you could still do something, in the front office, consultant type role, but his head coaching time has passed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I certainly agree. I mean, I think, there's no doubt in my mind that Pete Carroll can coach football, or his ability to coach football is not necessarily in need of being proven.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think his time may have come to an end. Listen, he was the oldest coach in the NFL this year. You know what I mean? Like, that's
by a lot, wasn't he?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think Pete Carroll, I think, is older than Belichick. So, I think he was the oldest, and I think it was time to move on. Let's move to
he was 70. He's 74. Andy Reid was 67.
Yeah, right. So Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
What?
Here's the deal. Now, again, it could still happen, right? But Aaron Glenn, we saw the Jets this year, and
not by choice.
How it was right. Against our will, we watched the Jets this year. I mean, Aaron Glenn is a defensive coach. The Jets did not record an interception this year.
First team ever since interceptions were recorded.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's justification to keep him. I just don't. I mean,
no, there isn't.
They were so ill prepared for virtually every game. Clock management was silly. I mean, it was just not a good year for Aaron Glenn. Jet fans are screaming for Aaron Glenn to go. This one I don't understand. I really don't.
And I know we were talking about the Raiders have the number one pick, but they are more built to do stuff than the Jets are, because the Jets they have the number 2 pick, and they were in a 4 or 3-way. Oh no, it was a 4-way tie. Raiders 1, Jets 2, Cardinals 3, Titans 4. And you paid for a quarterback who didn't work. You have a running back who wants to get out and was shocked he didn't get traded. You traded your 2 best defensive players for future picks. So, okay, we'll see what happens with that. But you have a defensive coordinator as your coach, where, as we just touched on, had one of the worst defenses in the league and recorded a lack of defense record.
It's that
And,
it really does.
and so you have all these picks where, okay, the reality is if you hit with all these picks, and the Jets have a history of not doing well with first round picks, but if you were to hit with these picks, okay, then maybe we start seeing improvement in 2 to 3 years. Is Aaron Glenn still going to be there in 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, right.
Especially, I know we just touched on Stefanski. With him being available right now and all these picks, how do you stay with him? And honestly, if you let go of Aaron Glenn, I don't even know if he would get a defensive coordinator position right now, the way the team went.
Right, yeah.
He is a guy that right now would not get hired. He would probably go back to college and try to work his way back to the NFL.
Right.
Yet the Jets are just like, oh, no, it's not your fault. It's not your fault that we were just abysmal in every side of the ball.
Listen, you heard Woody Johnson, right? When he said, listen, it'd be a lot easier if we had a quarterback that could complete a pass, right? Like, they are so misconstrued.
Justin Fields, for a period of the season, was the leading quarterback without an interception. And then obviously he completely fell apart. Why? Because you had no offensive line. Your running back was furious. Your defense couldn't do anything. So he kept losing. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? The problem is him. Let's bench him for Tyrod Taylor. That will fix it.
Listen, I think, yeah, well, right. But did you hear what Todd McShay said?
I did not.
After Sunday? So
no.
Todd McShay said, listen, and it's a very good point, and I think a lot of people were even thinking the same thing. He was saying, listen, if I'm like the agent of Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza or whoever, like by the time draft time comes, whoever the top quarterbacks are going to be, I can't justify telling my client that it's worth it going to the Jets right now.
Oh, it's absolutely not.
You know,
it's worth going to the Raiders. It's worth going to the Cardinals. It's even worth, I mean, I don't see the Giants drafting a quarterback at 5, but it's almost worth going there instead of the Jets.
Yeah. Well, because it's been so long since they've gotten it right. You know, like when Mark Sanchez brought them to back-to-back AFC championship games, those were very defensive-led teams, first off. But it's also been so long since that happened. I mean, I can't imagine that, especially with NIL now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, would you just say, listen, like, you'd have to, what he said was, like, you'd have to call the Raiders and see, like, listen, are you drafting me with the number 1 overall pick? Because if you're not, I'm going back to school. Because like that's the conversation that I think some guys might actually have. Like, that might be a real conversation that an agent has to have with their quarterback client of just avoiding the New York Jets altogether.
And likewise, let's say that the Jets were to call that agent for Mendoza or Moore, whoever, then you go to them and like, well, are you going to trade your pick to Miami or someone else and just get multiple picks? Right. Just so this way I can be a number 2 pick and not go to you, and then you can get more capital because. Yeah, I mean, why? Mark Sanchez is the Joe Montana of the Jets franchise. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Joe Namath is their Tom Brady. Mark Sanchez is their Joe Montana.
You telling me Chad Pennington doesn't work his way in there somewhere?
Chad Pennington is John Elway. I mean,
is it reasonable to say that Sam Darnold is one of the best quarterbacks they've ever had in their history?
yes. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy to say, but
listen, Jet Favre, Aaron Rodgers, the whole.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Aaron Rodgers was the Aaron Rodgers of this roster. Very
true. I couldn't have put it better myself.